I ain't gonna lie, I could not figure out how to write an intro for this video, so here's 101 Subnautica tips. You swim ever so slightly faster when you're on the surface, and also when you're not holding an item. The air bladder, once very underwhelming, got a pretty significant buff in the Living Large update. It now sends you up 175 meters in just a few seconds, making it really useful in early game exploration. The air bladder can also refill itself in an unpowered base, allowing you to back in and out repeatedly for infinite air. The Pathfinder tool is really easy to make, and it can be quite helpful when exploring larger wrecks, especially in hardcore mode. As long as the sum of your hunger and thirst is greater than 150, you'll begin to slowly regenerate lost health. Raw fish don't go bad, so don't cook them until you're ready to eat them. You can overfill your hunger meter with a piece of food as long as you are below 100 hunger whenever you ate it, and if you do this with a nutrient block at 99 hunger, you can get all the way up to 174. You lose 1 point of thirst every 20 seconds, and your hunger alternates between going down once every 20 seconds and once every 30 seconds, meaning it'll take 33 minutes for your thirst to fully deplete, and just shy of 42 minutes for your hunger to do the same. Most fish are less reactive and way easier to catch at night. Reefback barnacles are a really easy and underrated source of early game copper. Similarly, the two thermal geysers in the safe shallows are a great place to get a bunch of sandstone. Try and start your base somewhere more out in the open. It'll give you a lot more room for expansion once you get more and bigger modules. Bases have a hidden power priority system, where the base will always try to take energy from the power source that was built first. So if you build your renewable sources like solar and thermal first, you can use their free energy most of the time, and this will allow your bioreactor fuel and reactor rods to last a lot longer. You can take out your battery when you're in a base, and your habitat builder won't use any power. You actually drown at -8 seconds and not 0, and since this extra bit of air gets refilled automatically upon switching to a new oxygen source, if you time your air bladders and O2 tank swaps well, you can actually gain yourself a few seconds of free air. Bladderfish can be consumed raw for an additional 15 seconds of air. Use dead batteries whenever you're crafting tools or power cells to gain a free full charge. If you're quick, you can kill crash fish before they have a chance to explode. Alternatively, if you swim directly at a crash fish, it won't be able to turn around fast enough in order to get you. 1 salt is essentially equal to 3 bladderfish, since you can combine it with the limitless table coral in order to make bleach, and each bottle of bleach makes 2 waters that refill you by 30, whereas a bladderfish only makes 1 water that refills you by 20. If you hold forward, up, and left or right at the same time, you can nearly double the Seamoth's speed, which makes getting to places a lot quicker. Lifepod beacons make really good built-in navigation points. If you want to mark someplace cool but don't have a beacon, write down how far you are from 2 separate waypoints. By heading back to where these distances are the same, you can essentially triangulate your way back to the point you marked. If you ever need to find your way to a set of coordinates and you're playing on console, mobile, or just don't want to use F1 for whatever reason, you can do so with just a compass and a beacon. To start out, you're going to want to find the northernmost tube coral that's sticking out of the water slightly. Then head northeast for about 40 meters until you run into this small patch of green plants. This spot right here is 0, and you're going to want to go to the surface and mark it with a beacon. Then take a look at the coordinates you want to visit. -x is going to be to the east, +x is west, -z is south, +z is to the north, and you don't really have to worry about the y coordinate, since whatever you're looking for is probably just going to be on the ground. Of the x and z coordinates, you're going to want to pick the larger of the 2 distances and start heading in that direction, until you get that far away from the beacon. So, for example, if I were trying to find this wreck in the Sea Treader's path, I'd start heading directly west for 1,132 meters. If you don't actually know what the spot you're heading to looks like, you can plug the x and z coordinates into a triangle calculator and head towards the other coordinate until your distance from the beacon is the same as the hypotenuse. But if you do know what you're looking for, you can just head in the other direction till you eventually find it. You can find the game's 2 islands behind these big clouds of fog. As long as you're not playing hardcore, remember to actually save every now and then. The game has gotten significantly more optimized and less buggy over the years, but glitches do still happen, and losing hours of progress is never fun. Keep a close eye on your Seamoth's health in dangerous areas. A group of bone sharks can easily take half or even more of your Seamoth's health in just the time it takes to explore a wreck. A lot of wrecks actually share the same internal and external layout, with only a few minor changes being made to things like what doors are blocked off. So if you know how to navigate through one of these wrecks, you can pretty much navigate through them all. You can fit through this gap in this wreck in the northwestern grassy plateaus, allowing you to access some areas you'd normally need a laser cutter for. But this only works before the Aurora explodes, for whatever reason. The reinforced dive suit effectively makes you immune to fall damage, since there's nowhere in the game you can fall that's even close to what it would take to kill you. The reinforced dive suit also makes you completely immune to tiger plants. There's a handful of plants you'll need once for a one-off recipe, but creepvine, acid mushrooms, gel sacks, blood oil, and deep shrooms are the things you'll actually use in your day-to-day crafting, so try to make sure you're growing them. In order for creepvine to grow with the seed clusters, you have to actually plant the seeds themselves, not just the raw creepvine. You can knife a gel sack twice, take it out of the grow bed, put it back down, and repeat the process to get infinite seeds. There's nothing preventing you from just heading straight to the floating island and getting all the plants and blueprints right away. If you don't have the blueprint for the indoor grow bed yet, you can farm indoor plants and outdoor grow beds up on the surface. Marble melons are arguably the best food in the game, especially in the Cyclops where you can't use an alien containment. The best fish for food is the Reginald, and you can find them in all of these places. Acid mushrooms are a really easy source of early game bioreactor fuel, but once you can farm them, the Oculus is by far the best. The breeding limit for the smaller alien containment units is 10, and for the larger ones it's 18. You can tell how much space a creature will take up by how many spaces wide it is in the inventory. So a small alien containment can naturally breed 10 1x1 peepers, and only 4 3x3 stalkers. Everyone knows you can get table coral in the safe shallows, but you can also find some in the bulb zone, crash zone mesas, sparse reef, mushroom forest, on the backs of reef backs, and down in the Lost River. When heading to the Aurora, you can pack a lot lighter than you might think, since you're gonna get a ton of food, water, batteries, and first aid kits from all the supply crates. If you have enough health, you can run straight through fire and take relatively low damage. You don't need a propulsion cannon to explore the Aurora. If you take the upper entrance, you can jump across this pile of debris, or crawl around what's left of this walkway and drop down. You can also get up the left set of stairs in the prawn bay, and climb over everything pretty easily on your way out. You can get a free Seamoth depth module in the Seamoth Bay, and a Cyclops engine efficiency module in the drive room. The western part of the crash zone, from about the rear thruster to the part where the ship starts breaking up, is completely safe, making this a fantastic spot to farm metal salvage and even get stasis rifle fragments. Spamming your laser cutter saves a few seconds compared to cutting normally. Bleeders can be chopped off with a knife, hit off with a tool, or even punched off with nothing at all. The hull reinforcement module only protects against collision damage. It will not make your vehicles tougher against creatures. It's also completely useless for the prawn, since that already doesn't take collision damage. You should pretty much always be going for scanner room range upgrades over the speed ones. The sparse reef and blood kelp trenches are easily the best spots to put a scanner room. If you let one of your camera drones get picked up by a local stalker, it can serve as a pretty good way to mark its nest. Tiger plants are one of the very few things that can actually damage your base, so if your base keeps mysteriously flooding, that might be why. You can salvage a stuck Seamoth pretty easily by pushing it with a propulsion cannon and something large and heavy, like a rock, sea glide, or ion cube. Wreck 2 in the southwestern grassy plateaus is ridiculously good. It doesn't require a laser cutter, and you can almost always get loads of battery charger, modification station, mobile vehicle bay, and propulsion cannon fragments. The Sea Treader's Path and Mountain Island Caves are both fantastic places to get shale. Sea Treaders also can't attack you anymore. I think this was removed in the Living Large update, but for some reason it's still on the wiki. Reinforcements are both the cheapest and most effective way to increase hull integrity. Pretty much every vehicle upgrade that isn't a storage module doesn't stack, except for the Seamoth solar charger for some reason. If you pair swim charge fins with a Sea Glide, the battery will never run out, and since the Sea Glide doesn't care about your fins when determining speed, you'll still move just as fast as if you'd used Ultra Glide fins. The Crab Squid EMP attack is only 2-dimensional, so to dodge it, just go a bit up or down. It's pretty well known that crab squids are attracted to bright lights, and if you read the databank entry for the bone shark, you'll be led to believe it works the same way. However, this isn't actually in the game for some reason, so you're perfectly fine to leave the lights on. In a similar vein, the databank entry for the Reaper says they use echolocation, meaning if you can hear them, they can see you, but this is also not in the game, so unless the roars are super loud, you're probably gonna be just fine. There's only 3 biomes in the entire game that actually have Reapers: the mountains, dunes, and crash zone. Okay, there's technically also one Reaper that's like 2 feet into the bulb zone, but if you're straying that close to the crash zone, you're basically already asking for trouble. The game has 6 internal levels to the Kra infection. Stages 1 and 6 are before you get infected and after you get cured respectively, while stages 2 through 4 are all some level of being infected. Despite technically being infected at stage 2, warpers won't actually start attacking you until you reach at least stage 3. And looking at the in-game triggers for each of these stages, until you visit the Aurora, Mountains, or Lost River, you can effectively stay at stage 2 indefinitely, meaning warpers won't attack you. Make sure to check whatever tools you find in a time capsule. If the person leaving it was nice, you might be able to get some early ion batteries. This is every single spot that a time capsule has a chance to spawn. This might just be a me problem, but if you're trying to mentally navigate using the Aurora in the game's map, it can be helpful to remember that the Aurora actually faces about 45 degrees to the northeast, and not perfectly north like it can sometimes seem. The Big Wreck in the Underwater Islands is easily the most reliable spot to get Cyclops engine fragments. You can keep a second drill arm in your prawn suit storage and equip it to mine twice as fast. If you ever feel like you don't have enough storage in your prawn, you can put items inside of waterproof lockers and then pick these up with the prawn suit, which can technically give you unlimited storage depending on how many lockers you want to bring. The wrecks in the Mushroom Forest and Sea Treader's Path, as well as the Mushroom Forest itself, are all really good places to get Cyclops hull and bridge fragments. There's no point in putting a power cell charger in your Cyclops, since it'll steal the same amount of energy from your main power cells in order to charge them, unless of course you're getting power from the Cyclops thermal reactor. Ampules and crab squids are the 2 non-Leviathan creatures that can damage the Cyclops, but they tend to do so little damage that you can basically just ignore them. If you've aggroed a Leviathan in the Cyclops, your best bet is to turn off the engine, take the hit, wait for it to go away, and then leave. Trying to run away will only cause the creature to re-aggro, and you'll take even more damage. The Cyclops doesn't take fire or pressure damage when you're not inside it, so sometimes it can be a good idea to leave, regroup, and come back once the threat leaves and you're able to repair. If you activate the Cyclops fire suppression system, run through the main hatch, and quickly hop in a vehicle, it's possible to get out before all the doors lock. The Cyclops engine doesn't consume any energy when you're not moving. It will still make noise though, so be careful. The Cyclops interior and exterior lights also don't consume any energy. It takes 20 seconds for flank speed to start having a chance to start a fire, and another 20 at normal speed for the engine to cool down. So you can cycle between around 18 seconds of flank speed and 22 seconds of normal speed to shave off some travel time. There are 3 different ways to remove lava larvae. You can go out and knife them, take out all your power cells, and flick them off with the Cyclops shield generator. If you like taking your Cyclops down to the lava zone, but always have problems with running out of power, consider making 2 ion power cells once you reach the alien thermal plant. You're gonna need to make 2 of them for the rocket anyway, and they'll give you more than enough power for the rest of the trip. You're a lot more tanky than you might think. At full health, there's only one attack from one creature in the entire game that can one-shot you, and once you get a reinforced dive suit, even ghosts and reapers will need 3 hits to kill you. Lava lizards and sea dragons are completely immune to the thermoblade. Since the observatory technically counts as its own biome, entering one in the void will cause all of the ghost leviathans to go away. There's a bunch of thermal spots dotted around the map, but the best ones are in the Tree Cove, the Northern Lost River, and the seafloor in the underwater islands. Uraninite's only use is in making reactor rods, so unless you're planning to build a nuclear reactor, you don't need to bother getting it. You only need 18 kyanite, 11 nickel, and 9 crystalline sulfur in order to be able to craft every item that uses them. There's only 2 spots in the entire game where you actually need a blue tablet, and only 1 where you need an orange one, so you should only ever have to craft 1 blue tablet and never actually have to make an orange one. While I wouldn't recommend doing this in your first playthrough, there's nothing requiring you to actually visit this place, so if you've been here before and already know the lore, you can just skip it. The stasis rifle may be the king of stunning things, but the repulsion cannon's also really good when you're caught off guard and don't have time to charge up a shot. The stasis rifle, paired with about 30 to 40 gas pods, is a dangerous but really quick way to kill a leviathan. If you're trying to stun something with a stasis rifle, you can fire out a few quick bursts to make sure you get the initial hit, and then you can charge up the full shot. Because of their small hitbox and relatively slow turning speed, Reapers are ridiculously easy to strafe. Sea dragons can be pretty hard to dodge if you're out in the open, but your best bet seems to be to go directly at and under them. To find an entrance to the lava castle, head to either the north or south side, look just above the final ridge before all the geysers start popping up, and head to the left. To find an entrance to the lava leaks, head directly out from one of these entrances and veer slightly to the right. If you're traveling somewhere that's pretty deep within a dangerous biome, but you've either already been there before or know roughly where you're headed, you can travel there on the surface, since most of the dangerous creatures tend to stay deeper down, and then just dive straight down once you're above where you need to be. There are 4 entrances to the Lost River, one in the northern Blood Kelp, one in the Deep Grand Reef, one in the Blood Kelp Trench, and one on the border of the mountains in Bulb Zone. Of these, the ones in the northern Blood Kelp and Deep Grand Reef are definitely the easiest to find, both sitting next to prominent spots with built-in beacons. The Blood Kelp Trench and Deep Grand Reef are probably the safest entrances, and the one bordering the mountains in Bulb Zone gives the most direct route further down. If you ever find yourself needing a few extra ion cubes, you can get a few of them at the sanctuary caches in the dunes, northern Blood Kelp, and Sparse Reef. And finally, if you're in hardcore and something doesn't go the way you'd like it, you can always take the coward's way out and force close the game to get back to your last save. I promise we won't say any mean things about you. Well, not to your face anyway. Before I go, I just want to give a big thanks to all the people who suggested stuff for the list. But if you think there's something I might have missed, feel free to let me know. And if you managed to learn something new, consider liking the video, subscribing, and joining the Discord. It all helps out more than you might think. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Have a great day, and I hope to see you all again very soon.